Priscilla Presley, a name forever tied to the legacy of Elvis, has lived a life in the public eye filled with glamour, fame, and admiration. But behind the glitz, there's always been a personal story often overshadowed by her connection to the king of rock and roll. At 80, her life reflects not only the triumphs of a woman who carved her own path, but also a series of heartbreaking challenges that few have truly seen. From her early years as a teenager thrust into the spotlight to navigating a high-profile marriage, public scrutiny, and the loss of a world icon, Priscilla's journey has been marked by resilience. Over the decades, she endured personal and professional trials that left deep emotional scars, trials that remained largely private. Even as she became a businesswoman, actress, and philanthropist, the shadow of heartbreak lingered, shaping her in ways that fans often overlook. Now, as Priscilla enters her 80th year, the story takes a somber turn. The personal tragedies she faced, loss, regret, and the ongoing weight of public expectation paint a picture of a woman who has had to balance her public persona with private grief. In this documentary, we explore the struggles behind Priscilla Presley's poised exterior, the moments of pain that shaped her, and the emotional journey that continues to resonate deeply with anyone who has followed her life. Priscilla Presley's life began far from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Born Priscilla and Wagner in 1945 in Brooklyn, New York, she moved with her family to Germany during her father's military service. It was in Germany that her life took a dramatic turn that would forever intertwine her fate with one of the most famous men in the world. At just 14, she met Elvis Presley, already a rising star whose presence and charisma would capture her heart. Their early relationship was unconventional and scrutinized by those around them. While many teenagers navigate first crushes quietly, Priscilla's early connection with Elvis was thrust into a spotlight few could comprehend. Letters, visits, and a growing public curiosity created pressure, even as their bond deepened. The challenges of maintaining a long-distance relationship at such a young age required maturity beyond her years. Despite the difficulties, Priscilla showed resilience, determination, and a sense of independence that would shape the rest of her life. By the time she moved to the United States to be closer to Elvis, Priscilla was entering a world dominated by fame, expectations, and constant attention. She had to adapt quickly, not just to a new country, but to a life constantly in the public eye. While many young women might have felt overwhelmed, Priscilla navigated this transition with grace, learning how to balance her personal desires with the scrutiny that came with being connected to a superstar. Her early years with Elvis were a mix of romance and challenges. Being married to one of the world's most famous men brought privilege but also isolation, as public curiosity often left little room for private life. Priscilla had to develop a strong sense of self, understanding early on that her identity could not be solely defined by her husband's fame. She pursued interests in fashion, personal style, and education, carving out spaces where she could assert herself independently, even within the constraints of her high-profile relationship. Beyond her marriage, Priscilla's early experiences with fame taught her lessons in resilience and discretion. She learned to navigate media attention carefully, understanding which stories to engage with and which to keep private. These lessons would later become crucial as she faced more profound personal challenges, including public scrutiny during her divorce, the management of Elvis's legacy, and her own career in acting and business. Priscilla's early life illustrates the foundation of her strength. From a teenage girl in Germany to a young woman balancing love, fame, and expectations in the United States, she developed a resilience that allowed her to face heartbreak and public scrutiny alike. These formative years set the stage for the tragedies and triumphs that would define her life in the decades to come. Even as her story unfolded in the glare of the spotlight, Priscilla's ability to endure, adapt, and maintain a sense of identity became one of her defining traits. Priscilla Presley's marriage to Elvis Presley was the defining relationship of her early adult life, one that brought both profound love and intense challenges. Married in 1967 at the age of 21, Priscilla entered a union that would forever be the subject of public fascination. While the world saw glamour, luxury, and the fairy tale image of Hollywood royalty, the reality behind the scenes was far more complex. Elvis's fame brought constant attention, scrutiny, and pressures that few could fully understand. Every public appearance, every media story, and every fan interaction magnified the difficulties of maintaining a personal life. Priscilla was thrust into a world where her identity was often defined by her husband's image rather than her own individuality. The weight of public expectation could be overwhelming, and the isolation she felt was compounded by the fact that many of her peers had never experienced anything close to her reality. Motherhood added another layer of responsibility and emotional complexity. The birth of their daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, in 1968, brought joy but also immense pressure. Priscilla had to navigate raising a child in a household where fame and public attention were constant. She worked to provide a sense of normalcy for Lisa Marie, shielding her from the intense spotlight as much as possible while managing the demands of being married to one of the world's most famous men. The marriage was not without its struggles. Elvis's demanding schedule, personal habits, and the intense pressures of stardom often created tension. While their love remained, Priscilla learned early on that being in a marriage with someone as celebrated as Elvis required patience, understanding, and personal resilience. Her ability to maintain composure in the face of public speculation and private challenges became a hallmark of her strength. Priscilla also faced scrutiny from the media, which often sensationalized marital challenges and painted her in ways that did not reflect the truth. Despite this, she managed to navigate these pressures with dignity, maintaining her public poise while managing private heartache. These experiences taught her the importance of discretion and reinforced her ability to endure personal pain quietly, a skill that would serve her in later years. The eventual separation and divorce in 1973 were deeply painful, both emotionally and publicly. Priscilla faced the challenge of redefining herself outside of the identity tied to Elvis. Yet, even in heartbreak, she showed remarkable resilience. She focused on raising Lisa Marie, carving out a personal life that balanced family responsibilities with her own professional ambitions. This period marked the beginning of Priscilla's evolution from the wife of Elvis Presley to a strong, independent woman navigating the complex landscape of fame, loss, and personal growth. Her experiences during marriage and motherhood shaped Priscilla's emotional resilience. They exposed her to the dualities of love and heartache, public adoration and scrutiny, and personal growth amid constant attention. By confronting these challenges head-on, she built a foundation that would allow her to face later tragedies with courage, dignity, and a depth of character that continues to inspire admiration today. After her divorce from Elvis Presley in 1973, Priscilla faced the daunting task of redefining her life. For years, she had been known primarily as Elvis's wife, and now she had to establish her identity independently, both in the public eye and within her personal world. This transition was not easy, as the shadow of her former life loomed over every decision she made. Yet, Priscilla's resilience and determination soon became apparent, guiding her through a new chapter filled with both opportunity and heartbreak. Priscilla pursued acting, with roles that allowed her to step out of Elvis's shadow and develop her own voice. She became a familiar face on television and in film, most notably in the Naked Gun series, where her performance showcased her talent and charisma. But while her professional life offered validation and independence, it did not shield her from the emotional burdens she carried. The public still associated her with Elvis, and every interview, appearance, or project invited scrutiny and comparison. Managing these expectations required a level of emotional strength few could appreciate. During this period, Priscilla also faced ongoing personal struggles. Being a single mother to Lisa Marie was both a joy and a challenge. She wanted to provide her daughter with a sense of normalcy while navigating her own life in an industry that was relentless and often unforgiving. Additionally, she had to confront the lingering grief from losing the man who had been such a defining presence in her early life. Though their marriage had ended decades earlier, the emotional connection, the memories, and the unresolved feelings remained. Priscilla's resilience extended to her role as a businesswoman and custodian of Elvis's legacy. She became a co-owner of Graceland, managing the estate and ensuring that Elvis's cultural and historical significance endured. This responsibility brought immense pressure, Every decision was scrutinized by fans, media, and critics. Yet, she embraced it, combining meticulous management with personal dedication, proving that she could honor her past while asserting control over her future. Amid these responsibilities, Priscilla also experienced moments of heartbreak that were deeply personal. The constant public attention, the comparisons to her former life, and the weight of expectations could be overwhelming. Even as she built a career, managed a global brand, and raised her daughter, there were moments of solitude and reflection moments where the reality of her sacrifices became starkly apparent. Fans rarely saw this side of Priscilla, yet it defined her character. Her ability to navigate life after Elvis highlighted her emotional depth and strength. She learned to balance the complexities of fame, personal grief, and professional ambition. Each challenge, from public scrutiny to private heartbreak, contributed to the woman she became: resilient, independent, and deeply human. Priscilla's journey illustrates that even behind a poised and glamorous exterior, there is a story of enduring struggle, personal growth, and emotional courage. Her post-Elvis years were not defined solely by loss. They were defined by her ability to transform tragedy into purpose, to turn scrutiny into strength, and to build a life that honored both her past and her potential. Priscilla Presley's story reminds us that resilience is forged in the quiet moments of struggle, and that the legacy of a life well lived encompasses both triumph and heartbreak. Now, at 80, Priscilla Presley's life reflects a mix of achievement, resilience, and ongoing personal struggle. While the public often celebrates her as a style icon, businesswoman, and former wife of the king of rock and roll, the deeper story is one of heartbreak, endurance, and quiet strength. This final chapter explores the personal reality she faces today, the emotional toll of her journey, and the lessons that emerge from a life lived under constant scrutiny. A significant part of Priscilla's heartbreak stems from the enduring loss of Elvis Presley. Though decades have passed since his death in 1977, the void left in her life remains profound. Fans may remember Elvis as a symbol of American culture, but for Priscilla, he was first a young love, then a husband, and ultimately a part of her personal history that shaped every subsequent choice. The grief she carries is compounded by the public nature of her life. Every interview or media story often reopens old wounds, forcing her to confront a past that is impossible to escape fully. In addition to loss, Priscilla has faced challenges balancing her personal identity with public expectations. For much of her life, her image has been tied to Elvis, whether through Graceland, media portrayals, or fan associations. She has navigated the delicate task of honoring her past while asserting independence and forging her own legacy. The pressure to be a symbol of grace and composure is immense, and it leaves little room for vulnerability. Yet, Priscilla continues to approach her life with dignity, showing the world that resilience does not mean the absence of pain. Family dynamics have also contributed to her ongoing challenges. Raising Lisa Marie Presley brought joy, but it also required navigating fame, privacy, and the responsibilities of motherhood in the public eye. Later in life, Priscilla has faced additional complexities related to family decisions, inheritance matters, and the ongoing preservation of Elvis's legacy. Each choice carries weight, as the scrutiny of fans and media is relentless. These pressures highlight the often unseen burdens of being at the intersection of celebrity and personal responsibility. Despite these struggles, Priscilla's life at 80 demonstrates remarkable strength. She has maintained her role as a cultural icon, a business leader at Graceland, and a mentor to others in the industry. More importantly, she continues to find ways to manage her grief, honor her past, and live authentically. Her story serves as a reminder that even in the face of ongoing heartbreak, it is possible to navigate life with courage, integrity, and resilience. Priscilla's journey also offers lessons about humanity and fame. She shows that public admiration can coexist with private suffering, and that strength is often found in quiet endurance rather than public triumphs. Her life underscores the reality that even those who seem to have everything, wealth, recognition, and influence, still face personal challenges that require courage, reflection, and perseverance. In the end, the tragedy of Priscilla Presley is not in her achievements or her public image, but in the private heartaches that have accompanied her journey. Her story is a testament to endurance, the complexity of human emotion, and the strength required to face both public and private loss. At 80, Priscilla remains a figure of grace and resilience, showing the world that even in heartbreak there is dignity, courage, and an unwavering commitment to living fully despite the scars of the past.